right. All right. And now, pull back. All right. All right, turn, go. Oh, go. Shit. Stand. Shut up. Go for it. Okay, right? Turn it. Come on. Okay, David. Open it. Hold on. Turn the hatch. It's gonna fail.
We've got a green flag. Everybody's taking off here at the start of the race. The stock class is right there. There's the P3 was up. Big waters here, bumpy waters already. You can see Bacardi Silver just getting their new boats sorted out. They're all the way on the outside there. Was up all the way on the inside with Ed Smith, Anthony Smith, and John Hagan aboard. It's a 32-foot Viper hull with twin 720 horsepower was up racing engines. Another newcomer to the sport there, Team Mojo in the middle of your screen, Stan Prokowski and Grant Bruggerman. As was up motors to the front of the P3 class. We have 3 onboard cameras aboard what's up, so we should have lots of great footage from the cockpit. What's up with the great battle side by side with Polo Tropical. Polo Tropical's a 1992 38-foot Top Gun cigarette. Powered by twin Tyler Crockett 1,000 horsepower inboards. The owner and driver is Frank Arases, and your throttleman is Albert Enchimendina. The team would like to thank Polo Tropicals, Araces Rodriguez Public Attorney, and Mesa Balance and Racing Engines for all their sponsorship and support. Going back on board, what's up right now? Team AMF, what's up? You can see Ed Smith, your driver, Anthony Smith on the throttles. And John Hagan from AMF is the navigator. Ed Smith got a handle on the wheel. Junior's got a handle on the sticks. Hagan's keeping them on course. And now coming down on CMS, Mojo in the Supercat Light class. This is Bob Bull and Mitch Miller aboard. Mojo being shot for the Miami Vice movie. There you can see the production company helicopter filming for the movie there. CMS Mechanical Services based out of Merritt Island, Florida. Bob Bull is the owner and throttle man of the boat. Mitch Miller from Cornelius, North Carolina is the driver. MTI with Mercury Power and IMCO drives. Team CMS was last year's national champion in APBA. The owner of CMS Mechanical Services, Bob Bull, was instrumental in bringing the APBA and SBI together to form the WPR. Bob Bull, John Carbonell, and Jim Poplin all did an excellent job to bring all the classes together. Great racing here so far in 2005. Looking forward to a great 12-race season. Pulling up alongside now is the brand new Bacardi Silver, their first outing in the boat. Just got it running a couple days before the race. Dave Scott's new Bacardi Silver Offshore Racing. It's a 39-foot MTI with Mercury number 6 drives and Mercury Supercat racing engines. John Tomlinson's the throttle man today. Chris Hanley behind the wheel. Two Mercury-powered MTIs side by side there. Bacardi Silver and Mojo CMS Mechanical Services. Oh boy, getting a little loose there in the CMS Castaway. Bob Bull, Mitch Miller still got it under control. Big hit there. Moving along pretty good, and out of nowhere, big wave comes along. Catches you off guard. Great shot there from freeze frame video. Come down with no problem at all and motoring right along. Had a pretty tense moment there in the cockpit, but they keep going with no problems at all. You can see the seas are building here in Miami. Head north in Miami Beach aboard CMS Castaway Super V number 2. Going on board now, Keene University Team AMF Offshore Racing, 24-foot Pantera, Scott Begovich and Monty Palma aboard. Very rough in a 20. Whoa, big jump. Oh my God. Both guys coming out of the boat. Scott Begovich and Monty Palma going overboard here aboard the Keene University AMF Offshore Racing. Quickly, you see a couple boats others stop there, but here's the slow motion replay of that. Huge jump right at the start of the race and going overboard. The Keene University Cougars going for a swim. Keene University AMF Offshore Racing has a second boat, a 29 Warlock, that won the Key West World Championships. They will be campaigning a little later in the season as soon as Al Chesley, the owner and throttleman, recovers from an off-season car accident. Very rough ride there by Scott Begovich and Monty Palma there, going for a swim at early stages of the Miami Beach Grand Prix. There you can see the offshoreonly.com safety boat there. Quickly back to retrieve these guys who are going to try to get back in the boat and maybe keep going here. Beach. 38-foot Top Gun cigarette against a 32-foot Viper Marine. Great onboard shot here on Team AMF. What's up?
Can you move to the right just a little bit?
Anthony Smith doing a great job working the sticks in this 32-foot Viper. What's up? Coming down now on S18, this is the Bermuda Barracuda. Chris Marshall from Bermuda is the owner and driver. Dennis Barry from Moreau, Illinois is the throttle man and rigger of this beautiful 30-foot AMT. It resides in Moreau, Illinois. Chris Marshall flies in for the races. Bermuda Barracuda, always a front runner in the super stock class, took second place last year in the Key West World Championships, third place in the national overall standings. Very rough ride for a 30-foot cat in these rough seas here in Miami Beach. Currently running near the front of the pack in stock class, currently in second place behind the Hulk right now, but running very strong. Bermuda Barracuda, Dennis Barry and Chris Marshall, you can see him running through a wave there at the north end of the course, but doing a great job. Always a strong, consistent finisher on the SPI circuit. Bermuda Barracuda S18 in the super stock class. Some of the other entries in the super stock class include Map A, the new Mojo, the Hulk, Pour It On, Deep V Cats, and Recycle America Alliance. Currently in V-bottom, owned and driven by Brett Bershman. Troy Hannon is the throttle man. Miccosukee Indian Gaming is located in Miami, out off of 41 and Chrome Avenue. It's the home for all your gambling fun, and it's a huge resort area for gambling in the Miami area. Miccosukee Indian Gaming, full casino and facilities in Miami. Fountains heading to the front of the pack. Miccosukee Indian Gaming, Muscle Racing. There you see the Scarab of Lucas Oil creeping up into the picture. Nigel Hook and Nick Pavlicek aboard the Scarab, Lucas Oil. Big water here today in Fort Lauderdale. 6 to 8 foot swells with a big chop on top. These DVs doing a great job staying on top of the battle here early on in the Super V class. Lucas Oil with the inside line running down the inside stretch here early on in Fort Lauderdale. Looking back at the rest of the Super V fleet. These guys checking out just a little bit. Great battle early on here. Nick Pavlicek, the throttle man. Nigel Hook, the driver, aboard Lucas Oil. It's a 38-foot Scarab. Running very strong here in the rough waters off of Fort Lauderdale. Diamond Dave and the K-Man running very strong in the muscle there, just making the move on the outside, holding the hammers down in the bumpy water, heading towards turn 1 in the first lap here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida at the 2005 McDonald's Air and Sea Show. Running at the front of the pack, number 7, Super V, Lucas Oil, Nigel Hook and Nick Pavlicek running strong here in the bumpy waters off Fort Lauderdale. Is Rodriguez crew, all the way from France, Serge Alexandre and Michael Carcente. Very strong runner all the time in the Super V class. As we said earlier, last year's world champion at the unified SBI APBA World Championship in Key West, as well as the APBA kilo record holder in the Super V class. Rodriguez crew powered by Mercury. Running great in the big swells off of Fort Lauderdale here. Sergei Allegre and Michael Carcente doing a great job in Rodriguez crew. Augie Penza is the owner and throttleman. Kevin Hans is the driver. Keith McHugh is the navigator. Augie the Godfather Penza, owner of A. Punza Modern Movers in Union City, New Jersey, one of the founding fathers of the Jersey Boys offshore racing crew, is giving up total control this year by putting himself in a 3-man bolster. For the last 3 years, the Godfather has driven and throttled and worked the tabs by himself. Kevin Hans will be driving Team Nesquik this year, with the Godfather Augie running the sticks. The newest crew member, Keith Q-Ball McHugh, taking over the navigator's position. Special thanks to Anthony Stick Smith and Smitty of What's Up Racing Engines.
No, it's fine. What's the drive set? 4. Water pressure still fine. Whoa! Whoa!
Bumpy ride aboard the Team AMF Nesquik here, with Augie Penza on the throttles. Number 5. Coming back again to Mikasuki Indian Gaming, still running strong in the Super V class, number 30. One boat that's not running so strong today in the Super V class, well, that would be Lucas Oil. He seems to have a little leak in his boat and taking on a little bit of water here. Normally a strong front runner here, Nigel Hook and Nick Pavlicek. Luckily on the end of a tow rope now instead of on the bottom. I'm sure the boat will live to see another day, but it makes a good aquarium right now. You can see clear as day, powered by twin Mercury 525 Mercury inboards. Sea Tow earning their keep today out here in the rough waters off Fort Lauderdale Beach. Coming back down again on V44, this is Team Taboo again, still running strong in their maiden voyage. Craig Wilson on the throttles and Bill Mazzoni at the wheel. Mercury powered, Arneson driven, Team Taboo 42-foot fountains. Two brand new 42-foot fountains here in the race today. That's Team Taboo and Instigator. Both running well in their first race with their new boat. One of the great supporters of freeze frame videos is offshoreonly.com. Here you see two of the offshoreonly.com pace boat patrol boats here, a 38-foot cigarette twin step Top Gun, along with the offshoreonly.com 36-foot Gladiator, running off beautiful Fort Lauderdale Beach here today. Overall, a great show for all the fans here in Fort Lauderdale. The McDonald's 2005 Air and Sea Show in Fort Lauderdale Beach. Great exposure for all the offshore racing fans in South Florida. Coming on down now to number 21, running the Superboat Unlimited category. This is DF Young. Beautiful new 40-foot Platinum foot cat. Herb Stotler is the driver and engine builder of these twin 1400 horsepower engines. Rich Wyatt is the owner and throttleman aboard DF Young. That's the first day in the water, had some technical difficulties, but still managed to get out on the race course. Here today trying to keep it going for the second day of racing here. DF Young, basically their home port here in Fort Lauderdale. Rich and Herb Stotler doing a great job aboard DF Young. Rich Wyatt and Herb Stotler in the Superboat Unlimited class. rainy day, rainy weekend here. Here's some footage of the freeze frame 30-foot superboat. This is a 1980 superboat that won many races in the early 80s as the freeze frame offshore racing team in the old B class. Kenneth Girardi, the pilot, aboard this weekend, powered by twin 225 Pro Max outboard. Still a great runner. Beautiful 30-foot superboat from 1980 here as a sweep boat in Offshore Super Series 2005 Race for Recovery in Fort Myers. Run towards the first turn. We have the green flag, and you can see right from the start of the go, fresh from the paint shop, CRC jumping to the front of the pack. Team CRC, Mercury-powered MPI going towards the front. Pro Marine trying to play catch-up along with the rest of the fleet in Super Cat class. Reliable carriers, JEM, Bacardi Silver, Out of Bounds, Nichols Offshore, WHM, everybody trying to chase down, so far unbeatable for the season, Team CRC heading at the first turn now. CRC, Nichols all the way to the inside, currently in second. Reliable carriers putting up a strong fight right in the middle of that three-boat pack there, heading towards the first turn. There you can see Pro Marine, Mike Anderson and Todd Warner aboard, coming on strong, heading into turn number 1. So far with the advantage is Team CRC heading into the turn. Reliable getting hosed down there.